Our Olivia Rinaldi, who was there, says that they see some blood on the bleachers. We're also hearing, I'm just getting some more information here. We're also hearing that the president is off-site. And Jane, what did you just say? We now have Robert Costa joining us on the phone. Bob, what can you tell us?
Not your average day at the office.
I've had a lot of weird days.
Do we have Bob?
I can tell you.
We lost Bob. Scott, we're going to bring you back in here. Scott, can you hear me?
Hey, it's Costa.
Scott, you know, what you described there is, you know, we've seen these rallies hundreds of times. This is not the first time that, you know, the former president has held a rally like this. They really should have this security protocol down. But like you said, clearly there was a breach. Clearly there was some kind of issue here for shots to have rung out, not only before you saw the president duck down, but afterward we have reporting that there were shots that were fired after the fact, after he was carried out on stage.
We heard a long sequence of explosions. Again, that's at about the 5-minute mark of this rally. After we all recognized these were likely, if not potentially, gunshots, we all took cover. And I'll admit we lost our view of the stage at that point. You can see it's all askew right now. The sign is off center. Things are toppled. Chairs are toppled. There's a helicopter going overhead right now. I also saw at one point, after the former president was removed, a set of law enforcement or responders, some in paramilitary gear, you know, the camouflage gear with helmets, run toward the left side of the podium from my perspective. It would have been the former president's right, and focus on someone or something about 50 to 100 feet to the left, to the camera's left of where former President Trump was speaking, to the former president's right side. That happened about maybe 60 seconds, 90 seconds after the explosive noises occurred. But law enforcement now appears to be growing in number on site. I see more vehicles, more flashing lights than I did when the speech began, and they have moved this crowd out of the seated area, out of the area immediately around the stage.
Scott, this is now a crime scene, and we're hearing from our reporter Olivia Rinaldi, who is there. That crime scene tape is being put up. The area, like you said, is being cleared. And now this is a live investigation that the Secret Service is involved in. I want to bring in our Bob Costa, who's been speaking to Trump sources all day. Bob, what have you heard?
This is an event that has sent off a seismic explosion inside of American political circles. Top Democrats and top Republicans working the phone already with me, asking me if they're hearing anything. They're trying to reach Donald Trump and his advisors. This is a shocking event to have an alleged shooting at a campaign event for the presumptive nominee just days before the convention opens in Milwaukee. There's a lot of concern. The former president, 78 years old, seen to be by his allies and friends as in good physical health. This is something that has rattled everyone just within the last minutes. A lot of uncertainty about what exactly happened, trying to talk to sources of the Justice Department and the Secret Service about what exactly took place.
And Bob, we're just getting some new reporting into the newsroom right now. We're being told that the former president is safe and that they have implemented protective security measures. So that is the latest that we have here. Former President Trump is safe right now. He is in with the Secret Service, who escorted him out swiftly after this event. But Bob, shocking, like you said, is the word. Troubling is the word. Worrisome is also the word for what just happened and transpired at this Trump rally. These rallies are moments where people can gather around a candidate, support a candidate. This is the democratic process, and for it to be interrupted in this way is really an affront to the democratic process. We are still learning more about what happened. This was still moments ago. Go ahead, Bob.
And this is unprecedented in recent political history. You see the former president there raising his fist. This is someone who has been defiant. In past interviews with Trump, he has confided with me. He has always been worried about his health in terms of possible violence on the campaign trail. And he has said he has sort of a fatal view about some of his exposure publicly, but he wants to get out there with campaign rallies. In the past, I've talked with former President Trump about how he sees people like George Wallace, the former presidential candidate who has been shot years ago, decades ago. But this kind of violence is highly unusual in modern American politics, thankfully so. But you see the former president raising his fist in defiance. Ronald Reagan last shot in the early 1980s when he was president of the United States at the Hilton Hotel in Washington. And he famously also expressed defiance in the hospital room when he was dealing with that shooting and that assassination attempt at George Washington University Hospital. So a moment in history here, a possible tragedy, likely averted, but a tragic event for America to see a major political figure shot. I mean, this has echoes of 1968. Unfortunately, when you saw Dr. Martin Luther King gunned down, a major force in this country, Robert F. Kennedy running for president in California in 1968. Now, former President Trump, unfortunately, to the list of those who have been shot while running for president.
Bob, that is exactly right. This is already a tragedy, already a historic moment that we just saw unfold. Thankfully, we're told former President Trump is safe. That is the most important thing right now. We do not have details of his condition. We saw when this transpired, he touched his ear, as you're seeing